I want to share something I actually heard, said out loud in a real school by a real educator who meant every word of it. I would rather just keep them seated. I don't want them getting out of control. Now, I want you to hear what I heard in that sentence because on the surface, it sounds like a classroom management preference, a practical decision about logistics and order. But underneath the language of control and seating and getting out of hand is a belief that students cannot be trusted with freedom, that movement means chaos, that the teacher's job is to contain the room rather than open it. And that belief, enacted daily, never really examined, produces a very specific kind of math classroom, one that is orderly and predictable and easy to manage, and one where almost no real mathematical thinking is happening. Because real mathematical thinking requires something that compliance-driven classrooms almost never provide. It requires safety. And the safety I mean isn't about quiet rooms or students who sit where they're told. It's the belief held by every student in the room that in this space, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to try something that doesn't work and to struggle out loud in front of other people without that struggle being read as evidence of inadequacy. That is psychological safety. And it's the foundation that every other practice that we've talked about relies on. Without it, productive struggle, productive persistence is just frustration. The language work from episode 5, the rescue reflex from episode 3, all of it lives or dies based on whether this one thing is in place first. Welcome to Show Me the Math Receipts. I'm Asali Smith, founder of Number Navigators, and this is episode 6. Amy Edmondson at Harvard Business School, whose research on psychological safety is foundational, defines it as the belief that one will not be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes. In a math classroom, what that translates to is pretty specific. Every student in the room believes that when they try something and it doesn't work, the consequence will be learning, not embarrassment, not judgment, not laughter from peers, or that particular look from the teacher. Sounds simple, right? And it's extraordinarily rare. Edmondson's research found that in teams where psychological safety was high, performance was consistently better over time. Not just on creativity measures, but on accuracy and problem solving. And here's the part that's worth sitting with. Teams that felt safe made fewer errors. Because safety makes people willing to name and address errors when they occur, rather than cover them over. Safety produces precision, not permissiveness. In low safety teams, people performed. They said what they thought was expected, avoided risk, and problems that could have been caught early went unaddressed because nobody felt safe enough to name them. Now carry that directly into a math classroom where safety is low. Students copy what the teacher does without understanding why. They raise their hand only when absolutely certain. They sit quietly rather than ask a question that might reveal confusion. And the devastating part is that classroom can look like success. Orderly, engaged, pacing guide followed, assessments showing acceptable scores. Because students have learned to perform on assessments the same way they perform in class. Nobody in that building necessarily knows that real mathematical thinking isn't happening. The safety deficit doesn't show up on the easy problems. It shows up exactly where it matters most. When the math gets genuinely hard and the student has to reach for something that they're not sure about. Here's what absent psychological safety actually costs, and I want to be specific about it. For students, the first thing it takes is the willingness to try. When the price of being wrong feels like humiliation, students make a rational calculation that the risk is not worth it. And so they wait, they copy, they ask for the answer before they attempt the problem. Researchers call this learned helplessness, a conditioned belief that their own effort and thinking aren't reliable tools for navigating mathematical difficulty. Once it's established, it is extraordinarily hard to reverse. It also costs them their mathematical identity over time, and this one is particularly painful because it compounds in ways that are invisible in the moment. The student who has been wrong in public, laughed at, called on before they were ready, made to feel slow in front of peers, doesn't just remember that moment, they generalize from it. This place is not safe for me. This subject is not safe for me. I am not safe in mathematics. That's the soil in which the "I'm just not a math person" takes root. And that's why episodes 1 through 6 of this show are all actually about the same problem seen from different angles. And for the teachers, what it costs is the truth. When students aren't safe, teachers don't get accurate information about what students actually understand. They get performances, nods, completed worksheets, and assessment scores that reflect the ability to replicate procedures under familiar conditions. And the teacher makes instructional decisions based on that. Decisions about pacing, reteaching, who needs support, all based on data that doesn't reflect reality. The feedback loop is broken, and a teacher whose feedback loop is broken cannot adjust effectively, no matter how skilled or how dedicated they are. In a psychologically safe math classroom, wrong answers are events, not verdicts. When a student offers an incorrect response, the teacher doesn't rush past it or soften it into invisibility. They get curious about it. Tell me more about how you got there. What were you thinking when you made that move? The wrong answer becomes something that belongs to the whole class, and the student who offered it doesn't feel exposed. They feel like they contributed something. Confusion gets named out loud by the teacher. This is genuinely a difficult concept. A lot of mathematicians have wrestled with this idea. Your confusion right now is a sign that you're engaging with something real, said plainly, repeated consistently, and that normalization of difficulty changes the meaning of struggle for every student in the room. And the teacher is also a learner. They say, I'm not sure. You know what? Let's figure it out together. They make mistakes in front of students and name them. They model the thing that they're asking students to do, sitting with uncertainty, trying something, being wrong, trying again. Psychological safety is a culture built together. And it starts with the adult in the room being willing to be human. Here are your Wednesday morning receipts. 2 things this week. The first one, audit your response to wrong answers. For 1 full day, notice how you respond every time a student gives an incorrect answer. Do you move past it quickly? Call on another student immediately? Or do you stay in it? Get curious about it. Treat it as information worth examining. Your response to wrong answers is the single clearest signal your classroom sends about whether struggle is safe. Make sure the signal you're sending is the one you intend. The second one, make yourself unsafe first. The next time you're in front of your students, make a mistake, on purpose if you need to, and then name it. Well, I got that wrong. Let me figure out where my thinking broke down. That moment, the teacher being wrong in public and treating it as completely ordinary, is worth more than any poster on a wall about growth mindset. It is the thing itself. Model it and watch what happens to the room. Psychological safety is the precondition for everything. For productive struggle, for mathematical risk-taking, for the kind of thinking that builds genuine, durable, transferable understanding. And every episode of this show, all the way back to episode 1, depends on students feeling safe enough to actually engage with it. And so if you're building a math classroom that produces thinkers rather than performers, the safety isn't the thing you do before the real work starts. It is the real work. It's the soil everything else grows in. And if you're in a building where that feels impossible, where the culture is working against you, well, here's what experience and research both tell me. Psychological safety can exist inside a single classroom, even when it doesn't exist in the building around it. You have more power over this than the system does. Next time, we're talking about the most underused and most powerful instructional tool in every math teacher's repertoire. It costs nothing, requires no curriculum resource, and has the potential to transform your classroom culture more than almost any other single shift. Episode 7 is called Questions Over Answers. I'm Asali Smith. This is Show Me the Math Receipts. Until next time, teach boldly, protect student thinking, and always keep your math receipts.